Obama sings Amazing Grace at church. A real con admits he's a Muslim, gay lover murdering, Social Security number faking, selective service record invalidating twerp. It's about facts on the internet. It's not about racism. All races are wonderful. Alright. This is a really seriously dead subject people like bringing up because they want to get a reaction out of people by screaming libtard. There's another comment that I'm going to go through, but I'm going to go through this one because it's stereotypical of people who seem to be sandbagging any possibility of the birther movement or even Tea Party being taken seriously because a lot of this stuff crosses over. We'll get to the point. The reason people claim or started claiming that Obama isn't an American citizen is because they lost an election to him and they wanted to remove him from power. See also all the special snowflakes burning down your local neighborhood because they're angry that Trump won. That is it. No, it isn't about integrity of facts or any of this. Orly Tates posted a birth certificate that was found out to be a forged birth certificate that proved he was from another country. And someone else forged, I have a video about this one by the way, someone else forged a card from some college as if that would have more merit than an actual birth certificate, saying that he was born at a different date or had a different name or something. And it was a forged birth certificate. Someone a forged college card, and it was someone else's card. And in both cases, the individual human being that had their birth certificate or their school ID card used as a template to fake a fake Obama fake. Double, not spy looping here. They're alive, so they could state factually, no, that is actually my birth certificate, or that is actually my college ID card, and someone threw Barack Obama's face on it, or identity data. It was found out to actually be confirmably a falsified set of documents concerning Barack Obama to try to prove that he shouldn't be president. On the other end of the spectrum were people making claims that he had gay lovers he had killed, or that he admitted he was a Muslim. Bonus points if you can find out where that meme came from and where it was actually posted. This is like someone saying that Barack Obama told everybody that if you're an illegal alien, you're allowed to vote. He did not say that. He didn't say anything even partially close to that. People cut off the video and carefully edit it so it sounds that way. That's called lying as well. These are all false proofs. They're easily found that way. They're not just easily debunked. They're an example of people who are disreputable, lying bastards who keep saying stuff. I don't care if you don't like Obama in place. The second time he went around, I wanted someone to remove him from office just as bad as you, because I think he was incompetent. But none of you produced any proof. All I ever got to see was people making false proofs. And you guys get mad at me for pointing this out? You guys are pathetic. Birthers are a pathetic violation of every rule of natural selection I can come up with. You're really on purpose very, very dangerous to yourself stupid. Because you shoot yourself in the foot about this. Bogus Social Security number, that was debunked. Because it was. His selective service record idea. Was that debunked or not? What about the gay lover idea? This is like Pizzagate all over again, right? Okay. There's nothing to do with racism. As a matter of fact, I would agree with that with a lot of people. They just lost an election and couldn't stand it, so they started phoning up proof. But for some of them, it is about racism because a black man won an election and they never got over it. And they're so dug in now, they're doing it long after he's not going to be president because they can't let go of it. That shows a level of foaming at the mouth, psychotic behavior that I would say borders on something mental and emotionally wrong with them, and definitely say that does include racism at that point. Because that's the only thing I know of that can drive a person to scream and yell about something that happened over 100 years ago, some of you people, flipping out about losing a war because you lost a war. No, you didn't. Your great-granddaddy did. You really have to be dug in to be like this. And I'm going to put in this, that's like screaming that Hitler never did nothing to nobody. He didn't do nothing. No, he was partially or directly responsible, I would say directly, responsible for the murder of 11 million people. People, not just one group or another. That's the number of people who were killed because of an extermination program against a lot of groups of people. So, yeah, just keep lying to yourself. That works well. And it's about internet facts and fake news sites and bull crap. Thanks for posting. Second half. Someone arguing with me about whether or not PDF files that are sent over the internet are normally compressed. Again, you're wrong. Again, ordinary citizens can go home and test this and double check it backwards and forwards and find out you're wrong, and this person claims to be an expert in the area. I'm the kind of person that gets brought into a courtroom to testify against idiots like you because I can prove that you don't know what you're talking about by just simply experimentally showing everybody how it works. This has been done on the internet as well, by the way, by YouTubers, proving that it does work this way. So here's the complaint. How a PDF is compressed. Let's be very clear. WAPTEK is not a person with the knowledge to understand how these files are or are not compressed from any digital editing software. You stuck in the word editing software. It was the scanner for a image copier, turning it into a digital document, and it was set to automatically optimize. This is demonstrated by the fact that someone can take a document made, you can make a document that's pretty close to this and run it through the same procedure, and it'll compress it almost exactly the same way. And calling it layers instead of individual components for a compressed file doesn't change that it's not photoshopped. Someone opening something in Photoshop alters the file immediately, unless you set it to read-only mode. And I'm sorry, you didn't cover that. Why didn't you cover that? Let me enlighten WAPTEK, this precious snowflake. I'm a precious snowflake. And I'm a ballerina. On any document that is scanned or faxed and converted to a PDF file, you have the ability to reverse engineer things like layers. Wrong. You're claiming there's layers immediately, right there. I can make one that doesn't have layers. I can remove the layering and make it into a larger file. And they're not layers, they're individual components used in the running method for compression. You're not being truthful. I'm going to bring up why in a minute. If a document is original source, then there are no layers present. That's a bold-faced lie. Then you bring up flattening. No, it was brought in raw mode. It's not called flattening. Raw file mode versus optimized file mode. It's very large if you don't optimize it. There's almost no visual difference between them. That's the idea. It's not lossless. It's lossy compression, but nobody can really see it. If you wanted a raw file, they can request a raw file, and then you complain that it's not real either. Because, and I'm going to bring up why in a minute, it's no different than the other one's answer. It's only one image, no layers. That's not true at all. Some hack claiming to be a graphic designer failed to compress the file in an action called flattening. Really, that's a nice one. Yes, I've actually heard that expression used for some software, but that's not what happens. People just hit the optimize button so it's smaller so they can email it. That's actually what happened. That's easy to understand, and anybody who's ever scanned a file and turned it to a PDF file knows that. There are too many people working at offices that know you're wrong. Why are you posting this? Next, I can say the same thing about the other person. The fact that some hack claiming to be a Photoshop expert failed to know that PDF files are compressed and they produce something that isn't called layers in a process called optimization isn't relevant. That's the one who's claiming that it's a fake. Why is he claiming it's a fake? Why is he saying something that literally everybody who deals with PDF files or any file format said he was wrong, flat out? Without a lot of them, I mean, they're not politically motivated. They're just like, no, you're just wrong about that. So are you, by the way, the person who's saying this to me. Submitted the official document, in quotes, to prove Obama is who he says he is. That's fucking hilarious. You literally could obtain the official document from a Gov site at the time. Oh, you're saying someone grabbed a blank document and edited it. Really? Okay. And when you make that, I want you to go ahead and hand that over to somebody who has to be able to know whether or not that's a real physical paper document. Because when you print that out, it'll say void and sample or other. You know that, right? No matter what printer you get and what software you use, it's not actually going to look like an official document because it keeps saying that it's a copy. Everybody who's had to photocopy something or reprint something, everywhere, everybody under the age of 30 who's had to actually do this with files off the internet or just from files that they got a hold of, found out the hard way, especially if you photocopy it, that it says void and stuff. because it's supposed to show you that it's a copy, because it does, because it has to. Otherwise, what's the point of the security functions? You didn't mention that. It doesn't say that. It's a scan coming in. Technically, it does have those watermarks in it that will show up if it's printed and photocopied, or just printed. You knew that, right? When you don't know what you're talking about, you should shut the fork up. Classic libtard speak, as if they know all. No, I don't know all. But I'm the one who had to explain this in a courtroom a couple of times to people, so that they wouldn't be lied to by a prosecutor who kept saying that someone's documentation had been phonied when it didn't show any evidence of tampering. The tamper-evident functions that are used in these pieces of software, and in fact in the files, make it very difficult to phony up a birth certificate for a real good reason. Because people want to phony up birth certificates. I know how to get around it, but it means I have to set up a printing press and print it. And again, you're ignoring the fact that the person who did the scanning, not some graphic artist, which is what you're claiming, the person who actually did the scanning of this piece of paper, who was in Hawaii at the time, really did in fact state that, no, I just put the piece of paper in the machine and scanned it, and it optimized it. I mean, really, this has been explained over and over again. Why do people who claim to be experts are willing to destroy their reputation? Oh, that's right, you don't have anything on your YouTube channel that shows you know anything about this. You're a birther. I think this is the antithesis of what you would be hired for. You're making a claim that is absolutely not true for whatever reason, because you can't stand that somebody won an election and you didn't like that. This is classic Tea Party speak, and classic, Orly Tates was responsible for presenting a phonied birth certificate that was made to prove Obama's from another country, right? And that someone else made a phonied ID card from a college that was obviously a fake and found out to be fake. And it was easy to track down. People tracked down who they'd copied it from. So on someone claiming that they got it from such and such an E, born in Hawaii, they don't present any way of tracking that down. Meanwhile, the person who had their birth certificate stolen and converted to an Obama birth certificate, and the other person who had their college ID card converted the same way, both came out and said, yeah, that's my card and that's my birth certificate, and why are you copying me? And doing a poor job of it. By the way, it was an Australian birth certificate that was used to phony up to make it look like Obama was from some other country and not Australia for some reason. And the ID card was for the correct college, but the wrong year, because they didn't have that card at that year. Because they did not. Period. Oh, that's right. Somebody went back in time and invented a technology that didn't exist yet to create a document that could be used to maybe someday make sure that Obama might win the election someday, because that makes sense to you? This is stretching it. This is what you do for a living, you're saying. Then you're a failure. You don't have to do data recovery. Data recovery you can learn this stuff from. You find these chunks and pieces sprayed all over a hard drive's sectors, and you piece them together to put the file back together again, and it doesn't even know it's been torn apart, because it's like that in the first place, basically. Because it's disparate parts jacked together and compressing and decompressing. You don't know what you're talking about, and you're claiming to do so. Unless you're willing... Okay, here we go. I want you to put up a tutorial, the idiot who did this, I'm not going to identify, on how to recover a hard drive that's been erased by destroying the first 1 megabyte of the boot sector. The first 1 megabyte of the hard drive space linearly. Okay? You do that. I'm not going to do that, because I don't want to sit around and do a video that takes 3 hours. But I'm sure you've got the technical expertise to edit that down and show us all about that. Keep taking your blue pills. They appear to be keeping you right where you deserve to be, in the dark. I'm not the one claiming something with my reputation staked on it that is simply not true. I'm the one claiming that I can prove this, and I don't have to, because there's about 80 videos showing you that you're wrong, and 100 websites saying it. And some of those existed before Obama was around, because this is a problem that goes back to fax machines. You knew that, right? And TIFF format. Do a couple of videos on the file formats and how they're constructed and what optimization is. Show us that you know what you're doing first before you claim it. I had a couple of channels doing it before. They're all gone now, because apparently people like you flagged the crap out of my videos. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and your presumptions are invalid. And that's what drives you. You just want to unelect him without the vote. Good day.